Welcome back to my channel. You already know it's your boy Hood Diggity, the Rock Reactor, back with another video. Yes, sir. Before I proceed, let me know where you tapping in from. Let me know what country, what city, what mountain, what hill, what cave, what island, what planet, what universe. Let me know where you at. Represent your hood. Yes, sir. Mexico is on fire. Mexico's on fire since the killing of elmencho, Nemesio, I forgot his last name, Nemesio something, elmencho. Guys, a lot of shit happens behind the scene. When it comes to third world countries also, a lot of shit happens that they don't tell us. I say behind the scenes, but you guys know what I mean. There's a lot of things that they don't tell us. This could be maybe the president of Mexico was working with Mencho, told him, listen, you need to give up. That's it. I'm getting pressure from Trump and the administration. I'm getting pressure from the gringos. So he didn't want to give up, and they just took him out. I mean, it could have happened. I've heard somewhere through the grapevine that it was a girl that gave him up. His lady gave him up. There's a lot of different versions. I'm going to do some deeper investigation because this is actually impacting. I don't think that this is going to change anything when it comes to the drug flow. When it comes to the cartels, I think this is just going to cause little elmenchos because a lot of people are going to try to, a lot of leaders, sub-leaders going to try to come up and take over. So this is going to maybe slow shit down when it comes to the drug flow, but I don't think it's going to stop anything. Let's get right to it, guys. New details emerge in the killing of elmencho. And before we do, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Any donations to my channel will be greatly appreciated. My PayPal account is on the screen. Let's take a look, guys.
Right now, I do want to get to the latest on the ongoing violence over in Mexico. Here's a look at just some of the video showing it all play out over the last several days. I believe this is from yesterday.
Wow.
The U.S. State Department urging Americans.
Damn. Hold up, guys. That was a bus. Oh.
This is from.
Looked like it used to be. Yeah, look at the entrance. Yeah, that looked like it used to be a bus. Wow.
Yesterday. The U.S.
I hope there wasn't nobody in that shit.
State Department urging Americans who are in Mexico to shelter in place in areas where the violence erupted. Now, the violence comes in the wake of the capture and killing of notorious cartel leader elmencho. We are also learning from the Associated Press that it was surveillance of a romantic partner that helped the Mexican armed forces track him down. Both Mexico and the U.S. spent years tracking elmencho, with military investigators finally identifying and following a trusted associate of the cartel leader. Now, there is a lot to explain about what all of this means, what happened afterward, and what the future holds. I do want to bring in Connor Pfeiffer, Senior Director of Government Relations for FDD Action. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Of course. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, well, first off, I wanted to ask you if you could kind of overall break down the situation that's taking place on the ground there in Mexico, because there are so many different nuances to all of this.
Of course, Josh, it's great to be with you. So the reason you're seeing widespread violence right now in different parts of Mexico after elmencho's killing is because the Jalisco cartel, which elmencho led and is the most powerful cartel in Mexico, is taking out retaliation in response to elmencho's killing. And so in areas of Mexico where the Jalisco cartel has significant control, think Jalisco and other areas in kind of central Mexico, for instance, that's where you're seeing the most violence. It's unclear how long the violence will take place. You've got a leadership succession to be determined for the cartel, and as well, the Mexican armed forces are beefing up security and trying to prevent additional blockades of highways, burning of cars, and some of the other violence we've seen.
See, but they're not reporting those buses that are burnt. Were there people in there? Have there been? Well, I'm sure people have died already, but how many?
But this is kind of an expected reaction. In the past, when key narco leaders like El Chapo were captured, you've seen this similar reaction from other cartels. What I want to underscore for your viewers is this is a massive victory for the United States and Mexico, killing El Mencho. Again, he led the most powerful cartel in Mexico. He has American blood on his hands. His cartel has trafficked fentanyl that has killed hundreds of thousands of Americans in overdose deaths in the past decade. And so this is a good day for the United States, but at the same time, we have to be cognizant of the violence that could follow because of how it's destabilized the cartel.
It's also important to note that our different affiliates across the country here have talked to several of their local citizens who are trapped, so to speak, there in Mexico watching all of this unfold. How safe is it for Americans right now who are in Mexico? Is it safe in any way?
Josh, I think for people who are currently in Mexico or considering travel to Mexico, they should consult the State Department, which has been putting out regular updates, not only for the whole country, but also for specific areas of Mexico, specific cities, specific states. And the State Department can provide the best information as to the current status of those areas. I think overall, though, the violence has been restricted to certain areas. And so it's not like every city in the country is seeing this kind of violence, if that makes sense.
As we kind of watch all of this continue to play out here, what are we hearing from Mexican leaders? How are they responding to the security, economic pressures, all of that?
See, I wanted to point out that he says it's a good day for United States, it's a good victory. It is, guys. It definitely is. Mencho's responsible for a lot of shit. A lot of people, over 1,000 people's deaths. I mean, he's responsible for moving a lot of tons and tons of drugs into the United States. And we're not even going to talk about the people that have overdosed on these drugs, the families that have been destroyed, people that are in jail doing life in prison for that. Other those are families destroyed also. So he's responsible for a lot of shit. But remember, they said they thought the same thing with El Chapo, and then El Mencho came. So this could be just another chapter. And in another year, you could have another, or less than a year, you could have another El Mencho.
So President Sheinbaum and her security minister, Omar Harfuch, and as well as the head of the military yesterday gave additional details on the operation and said it's the Mexican government's priority to bring security back under control and do their best to stop further violence in the aftermath of the killing. One thing that's going to be important in the coming days is for the Trump administration to continue to work with the Mexican government to take advantage of this opportunity. Right now, the Jalisco cartel is scattered and is in significant chaos. And one thing I think it's important for your viewers to know as well is the other major cartel in Mexico, the Sinaloa cartel, which is what El Chapo led before he was captured. They're in the middle of a civil war right now because of the capture of El Mayo in 2024. And so right now, both major cartels in Mexico are not in a strong position. And so this is an opportunity to double down, both for the Mexican government and the US government, to double down on efforts to dismantle these cartel networks and hurt their leadership. And so they're able to traffic fewer drugs and commit less violence, both in the United States and in Mexico.
Talking about the U.S. there, does all of this kind of impact anything about the relationship there between the U.S. and Mexico?
It's clear from what the Mexican and U.S. governments have said after the operation that U.S. intelligence and planning was critical as part of Mexico's efforts to undertake the operation. So it shows the importance of stronger security cooperation between the United States and Mexico. Under the Trump administration and Mexico's recently new president, Claudia Sheinbaum, you've seen much stronger security cooperation than you saw in the past. And that's really important because you can actually make tangible gains against these criminal groups when the U.S. and Mexico are working closely together. And so I think it's a reaffirmation of the importance of the Trump administration strategy of putting constant pressure, economic as well as security pressure, on the Mexican government to see outcomes like this.
What should everyday people be paying close attention to as this does unfold? As we mentioned, the State Department is putting out updates, kind of providing information to folks who were either planning to travel or are there in Mexico right now. But what should the average American be paying attention to, and why?
So in terms of travel, like you mentioned, the State Department's the best resource. In terms of understanding what's happening and why this matters, paying attention to what the developments look like in the coming weeks and months in terms of, are we able to capture more high-ranking cartel officials? Is the Mexican government able to make some more tangible gains here against the Jalisco cartel or against other cartels and criminal groups in Mexico. Obviously, I mentioned the two largest cartels in Mexico, the Jalisco and Sinaloa cartels, but there are many others across the country, and some of whom operate more on the U.S. border, which is a big, potentially bigger impact in some ways for U.S. security. And so, following where the Mexican government, where the U.S. government are making announcements, working together, that's where the opportunities really are here.
All right, Connor Pfeiffer, thank you so much for being here with us and helping to break it down. Again, there's a lot going on. There are a lot of developments that are happening, so I'm sure we're going to have you back very soon as we continue to track all of this. Now, we covered a lot of ground, but is there anything else that maybe we forgot that you want to make sure to mention here before I let you go?
I think one thing for people to keep in mind is that the Mexicans have large, important cartel leaders before, El Chapo and others in the past. The key for making sure that the gains against the cartels are lasting is really reforming Mexico's law enforcement, their judicial system, and their policing capacity. So it's not just about taking out the kingpins. We also have to make sure we make gains on the ground, and also we take on corruption as well from the cartels.
Connor, thank you again for being here with us. We definitely appreciate it.
Thanks, Josh.
Well, guys, and the thing is that this happens in rural areas. This doesn't just happen in the big cities in Mexico, guys. They actually operate within the very small cities where they're stronger than the police and stronger than the authorities there, and the people are more vulnerable to actually exploit them. So we'll see what happens, guys. I mean, this is a big, like I said, this is a big gain. This is a victory for the United States, but they still need to be very vigilant and continue to work with the Mexican authorities, because this is it's a rupture, but it slows shit down, but it doesn't stop shit. The cartels is always going to be out there trying to make their money. Guys, you already know, man. Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Any donations to my channel will be greatly appreciated. My PayPal account is on the screen. May God have mercy on us. Peace, love, and God bless.